Right. We're taking passport 2. Now, we can depart. So we could head all the way to Bucharest. Or we could... Okay, we missed that. If it were yellow, we could have tried to interact with it. Though I don't think we can... The Orient Express... For Vienna... So yes, if I'd been a bit faster, we could have... And that's the issue, is if you're too slow, you can't really do it. You can't do it quite fast enough. So the Pyrenees Express somehow goes to Nice. So we can negotiate. So I've just clicked that button. So the Englishman's wardrobe should yield results. For no charge, this will leave tomorrow. And we're probably going to go this way and try and sneak across to Tunis. We might be able to jump back in, so tomorrow we'll probably take that. I think that'll probably be what we do, yes. Ooh. Right, so we want to go back to the city. And we can't do anything, we're going to have to hotel down here, so that means we're waiting a day. We took a hotel for the night. We will be comfortable here, Monsieur Fogg remarked, but travelling overnight will often be more efficient. And I think hoteling, actually, yeah, I think it did cost us some money. We must board the longest journeys available, where possible. We cannot travel where it is not possible, certainly, he replied. Still, the surroundings of the Hotel Ritz were most enjoyable. Right, so we can skip to make sure we get the right thing. This is not available today. Yes. We could head up to Amsterdam, but I don't think that's the point. We're going to head down to Nice. Now, the guard's van has space for 5 suitcases. We only need 1, because we haven't bought everything. I don't think the market replenishes, he says, hopefully. We boarded our train at Gare de Lyon, which had opened only the previous week. Compared to leaving London, it was a calm affair. The ticket booths were all staffed by automata. And cylinder phonographs installed throughout the station played La Marseillaise in triumph. We found a compartment and settled into plush seats with a complimentary glass of Provençal Rosé to grace the trip. I raised my glass to Monsieur Fogg. He tipped his own glass towards me courteously, but left the wine within untasted until dinner was served. So we can converse, so we will. Now, if you wait, you can have a look at the newspaper, which might give you, like, Phileas Fogg is travelling, adventuring, or rich Englishman waits outside bank because he has no money, which I've had happen. You run out of money and you just wait for the bank to reopen. To get their money. Nice. Oh, what can you tell me of Nice? The Riviera is only just becoming fashionable because of the train. To Tunis. Is there a route from Nice to Tunis? Most likely not. Venice. Rome. I believe so. I met a woman who designed parts for the Blue Line ferry from Nice to Rome. So, we've got a little bit of a route, but we haven't got that much. If that departs today, we may just grab it. But considering how late it is, we probably won't. The hours flew by, and I spent them in conversation, trying to gather information for our next leg. I met a charming French master, and I had a pleasant, if unproductive, conversation. No, we're trying to get information, so we're going to abandon him as knowing nothing, whom I quickly abandoned as knowing nothing. The train rattled on, arriving to Nice late in the evening. We stepped out to balmy autumn weather and a gentle murmur in the air. Ah, my friends, the sea. Your character is now dependable. There is a little tally up at the end that says what your characteristic was. So we obviously were more dependable because we didn't waste our time nattering with someone who knows nothing. You seem quite handy to have around, Passepartout. Thank you. So we can plan, because we can't explore. Now, when does this go? This departs in 2 days. So you see this blue figure? This is where I was about this time last time. Now we can try and negotiate this down. So no charge. For £97, this will leave tomorrow at 4. That gives us a bit of time. We might be able to do some stuff. So yeah, you can see this is my last run. Yeah, so it did say it took me 60 days to go around the world. So we're going to head back to Nice. We'll have to rest for the day. And then I think we're going to have some time. Oh, the long pebbled beaches of Nice were filled with Italians of one sort or another. A few protesting the loss of the city to France. A few selling sweet pastries. We're probably going to stay in kind of maybe a nicer part of town. I assume that's probably what we're going to be spending money on. So I think there'll be more people selling sweet pastries, which tasted of almond and butter. I munched contentedly. and then retired early. While I strolled along the promenade, took to the sea. Maybe we can find some other ferries around. Thinking this might possibly be my last chance to swim by choice, rather than, say, by the unfortunate sinking of some cockle-shell craft in the Azores or wherever we might end up. The water was warm and welcoming, and I had a very enjoyable time until I returned to the shore to find my wallet no longer inside my shoes. I blamed the nearby Italians, of course. No, I eyed the beach for likely suspects, and then noticed a young girl moving rather shiftily from parasol to parasol. I stalked her. That's rather creepy, but we must find her. We don't want to scare her off too much. I stalked her until I saw her dip into another pile of discarded clothing, and then, dear friends, I pounced like a cat, knocking her rather painfully down onto the pebbles. I recovered far more than I had lost from what flew from her pockets, but she fought like a demon and got away. A family of holidaymakers gave me a look of horror before hurrying their small children in the other direction. Of course, we probably should not have done that, but I protested myself innocent of any indecency. But the frightened family did not look back. I suppose it had looked a little untoward from their perspective. Ooh, I found a sailor to talk to, and asked for advice about how we should proceed. He shrugged. There's cars to Venice and the boat to Rome. Depends where you want to go, of course. Which would you recommend? Well, I wouldn't go to Rome if I were you. The people there aren't quite right, if you know what I mean. What is wrong with them? He mimed a chopping motion I did not understand, but refused to say more. I thanked him and moved along. Yeah, we've already lost some money. Let's not go to the casinos. My feet were tired. I murmured my goodbyes to the sea, and I knew to France, and returned to my master. Your funds have gone up a little. Hooray! So we now know that there is a route to Venice. Oh, very, very nice. And that departs before 5. So we can probably do a little bit of... we'll do some exploration, because we've got the time to do that. We can also visit the market. We might find some more places we can go. I took a few hours to explore, investigating various options for how we might continue our journey. And we already knew them. Okay, so we didn't actually gain anything from that, but you never know. So, part of the urban traveller, the Russian gentleman's... So we could get the Russian gentleman's wardrobe, but we're not going to be going to Russia, he says. We could buy... Oh, no, we can't. We can't actually buy a new thing. We'd have to sell our stuff. So, we're not getting that, then. That's most time. Unless something's saleable here. We may not actually be leaving Europe yet, so I don't really want to sell this. Actually, none of these have got train... Oh, yeah, these are all part of our train route, aren't they? We might actually... Going to Rome might give us access to Tunis. I don't know why I wanted to go that way. But I think I'd rather go to Rome, because southeast is the way we're going to be going, rather than straight east, due east. Let's head to Rome on the Blue Line ferry. Maltese. Looks like a slightly bothersome journey. So you'll notice that Fogg's health will dip at points, because that's what that kind of means. Right. We boarded the Blue Line ferry, named after the successful train line through France, and found a place on its crowded stern to wave at the port as we departed. When I say we, I do not mean myself and Monsieur Fogg, of course. Of course. Why would we be waving? He had no interest in seeing our departure, nor in standing at the front of the boat and watching our progress. I was joined at the prow by someone else, it seems. By rather more enjoyable company, a young woman named Estelle, whom I bumped into while hauling our case up the ramp. You're an explorer, she asked. Indeed so. Or at least, I am, as of 4 days ago. Then a roll of the sea made me stumble. We would be aboard for just one night, and I hoped I would find my balance, especially when in such fine-looking company. Converse, maybe we'll find something else. Greetings, Mademoiselle Estelle. Well, hello again, monsieur. Talk about Rome. I'm sure you know all about Rome. I heard the Italian artificers fight openly against papal forces. That's interesting. Okay, maybe we'll end up getting embroiled in that. Rome to Alexandria. Is that a route we can take? You can buy handheld mirrors in Alexandria. Extremely valuable in Suez. What about Rome to Tunis? I must go, but I hope we will talk here. Oh. So we've not learned anything. When we get to Rome, we're going to have to explore, which means we're probably going to get roped into whatever plot is going on over there. Mademoiselle Estelle met me in the restaurant, taking the seat opposite. I have it worked out, she answered cheerfully. What have you worked out? I asked. Who you are. I know your secret. I was taken aback. Had we caused such a stir on our journey so far? Perhaps you'd seen me during my days in the circus as a youth. No, had we caused such a stir on our journey so far? We've not really done anything. It seems most unlikely. She pulled out a copy of the Times. Here, she cried, folding it and lifting to my attention. To my astonishment, it was a headline about our journey. Phileas Fogg attempts round-the-world adventure. I must have coloured, as she pointed a finger. I knew it was you. Giddy with her discovery, she punched me in the arm. What an exciting adventure. Travel is most thrilling. I agreed. Especially now for me, she replied. Fancy my meeting Phileas Fogg himself. Eep. I opened my mouth to dissuade her, but she interrupted. You're more dashing than the story made out, she continued excitedly. Wait until I tell my mother. I'm going to convince her, because that's the correct thing to do. Mademoiselle, I am not Phileas Fogg. Of course. I understand. She tapped the side of her nose, and then, triumphant, made to get up. I'm sure you're in a hurry, so I won't keep you. Thank you, mademoiselle. I have nowhere to be. Perhaps a turn around the deck? I shouldn't just like walk on the boat. Perhaps a turn around the deck, I suggested. I couldn't possibly, she replied, all afluster, and then we proceeded to do exactly that. And you'll notice his condition is dropping, so there are some ways of boosting it back up. We arrived into Rome the next day, and I began to unload our case when the captain stopped me. New regulations, he insisted. Ordered by the new Italian regime. What regulations? You're travelling from England? Indeed so. Then you're required to sign this disclosure of artificer's materials. He produced a long roll of paper which I began to look over when young Mademoiselle Estelle appeared. Monsieur Fogg, she cried. I looked up and waved a hand, and she smiled and hurried over. I saw you were leaving, Monsieur Fogg, without saying farewell. Do we keep up the masquerade, considering the real Mr. Fogg is away? Is here, I'm assuming? Is he here? I fear so. I began, but at the same moment, Master, farewell, mademoiselle. Mademoiselle still took an instant step back, glancing between us. My sharp, aquiline features, my own rounded Gallic feeling. Yes. So he is with us, which probably makes sense. You wish to meet Monsieur Fogg. Yeah, okay, I think we're going to have to say it. I said, here he is. She thought for a moment more than grinned. Oh, I understand, she said. Very good. I did not ask. Yes, so she thinks that we're pretending that he's... Yeah, let's just give up. I did not ask. She chuckled to herself, stretched up to peck me on the cheek, and then hurried away in some excitement. Monsieur Fogg glanced at me, and I smiled. Youth, I shrugged helplessly. I shrugged helplessly. He shook his head a tiny fraction. And here we are in Rome. I'm sure nothing will go wrong here. We have to explore Rome to find an onward journey. Right, let's do that now, because we may find some... There we go. There's a route to Venice. Is there a route onwards? Athens. That could be good. I was tossing a coin into the waters of the Trevi Fountain, beautiful place, when the Bersaglieri marched into the square with a distinctive fast jog and began rounding everyone up. I tried to slip away. Let's not. I held up my hands. In supplication, I had no desire to test the resolve of any soldiers. In any case, there were too many of them to avoid. A lanky man with only the sparse beginnings of a moustache gestured at me with his rifle. No, in fact, his entire arm was a rifle, attached to his shoulder with iron bands inlaid with elaborate symbols. I looked up at his eyes. One of them was a clear light blue, the other covered with a leather eye patch mounted with telescopic brass monocle. The other Bersaglieri soldiers sported similar modifications to their bodies. They were half man, half automaton. Come si chiama? The blue-eyed soldier barked. Of course I understood, but I pretended not to. I did not intend to be helpful. Of course I understood, but I pretended not to, hoping my status as tourist would spare me trouble. It did not. At that moment, someone jostled me from behind, and I turned to see a figure in grey reaching into their pocket, and then tossing out a grenade. Chaos erupted. I am no fool. I ran for my life. It is the Zouave, an an equally fleet-footed young woman declared. They hate the scuola for what they have done to the young people. I assume that these are two different groups, and that, yeah, I understood immediately. Looking back at the soldiers with their strange and terrible modifications here. As I slowed to walk and then made my way back to Monsieur Fogg, I could not help but see more signs of the scuola's influence in Rome. Cobblers strapped into gleaming exoskeletons, glass blowers with ceramic hands, porcelain-faced automata fetching water and stoking fires, and even soliciting passing trade alongside working girls in scandalously low-cut dresses. Perhaps Rome is the future. I confess, I do not know. This is sounding a tad dystopian. Right, that was our exploration. So I think we're going to head to Athens, which departs tomorrow on an airship. Very nice. We'll have to spend the night. We could maybe head to Thessalonica. But again, we can't negotiate that down. We could negotiate that, but I don't want that one. I think I'll go to Athens. I think that's continuing our southeastwardly bent direction. Now, the marble bust is worth in Helsinki, which is quite a way away. Cairo, we're headed there. It's only 32. We will buy that, apart from the fact it won't fit. We can't get another Campo di Fiori. So we can't get another luggage, another set of luggage, which is rather frustrating. So we could sell this for 15. We're not going to need it. Oh, we might do, actually. Or I could get this. That's probably far more useful. So there is kind of this pick up and kind of deliver kind of aspect to it, where you do want to kind of buy stuff and then sell it on. And you need to be aware of what you can sell. With what remained of the day, I engaged another guest in conversation. I attended to Monsieur Fogg. He seems to, oh no, we're going to be boarding the ship, so we'll attend to Monsieur Fogg, which will boost his health a little bit. With what remained of the day, I attended to Monsieur Fogg, providing him with fresh clothing, so our relations improve a little bit. Now, we can't go to the market. We could depart. And that's going to... Oh, that departs at 9. We probably won't be able to afford... Wait, we can't wait. So we're going to go... High winds, this looks like a bothersome route. So we've managed to get his condition or health back up to 100, so that will be good. I hope. We boarded a commercial passenger airship in one of Rome's many docks. The stowing of luggage was handled by lines of figures with hooks and extendable poles fitted to their arms. I watched with an acrobat's interest. As they flung cases to one another, swung in and out of the cargo hold, moving about like monkeys. They were cheerful types, full of raucous humour and efficient, for we were all within the cabin of the craft within a few hours, and the ship itself was tugging at its docking ropes after an hour or so more. More conversing. I am at your service, Monsieur Fogg. Passepartout. Your health. How are you feeling, monsieur? I'm in roaring health, but we must make haste. Money? Indeed, we can earn a little from buying and selling our possessions as we travel. So, you can kind of like... So, for example, we now have an item that's going to sell quite well in Cairo. So that might be quite good for us to head to. Assuming we don't need to sell it earlier for whatever reason. You can find timetables. We had a European train timetable. So you'll notice that we don't know as much about some of these routes because we knew about it from the timetable. We hadn't heard about it.